Is that a
ESPN.
sport? Ooh. Welcome back, everybody. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This is X's in the U. This is episode number 62. Didn't mean for that to rhyme, but it did. And I am Matt Kandasik, former president of the Sons of Ben. I'm joined by Adam Booth, ex-head capo. And of course, joining us, honoring us with his presence is ex-player, forever legend, Sebastian Latou. We might be the X's, but we're the experts in bringing you news about the U. And breaking news, guys, it just hit probably 4 minutes ago. Bradley Carnell is no longer your head coach of the Philadelphia Union. Who saw that one coming? I didn't see it coming this early. Adam, you want to comment first, and then we'll get Sebastian Latou's take and his acceptance of the new head coaching job.
I mean, look, I think it is shocking that it happened now. I had to have thought that if you're going to fire him after the match that just happened, you already fired him, because I don't think that's the game that I say to myself, okay, enough is enough, which is a road game against Miami right before the break. I think if you went into that match and then he gets fired after that match, I think he was already fired before that match, in my mind. And then they were just waiting for the break to make it less messy. No pun intended there. But that to me, look, the team is 1-10-4. It's 1-10-4. There's 16 matches in, you've won one of them. That's going to get a lot of people fired. That's going to get a lot of people fired. And I think if it wasn't for the fact that he had won the Supporter Shield and Coach of the Year the year prior, this would shock 0 people on planet Earth. I just think under those circumstances, this is more shocking. But look, the Union have been one of the better teams in this league for the best part of 8-9 years now. They have the standard that this team accepts, and bottom of the table is not that. So change I thought was going to come in some capacity. It didn't really feel like the game after Miami was going to be the one, but because it is the break, maybe that makes more sense. But yeah, it's seismic regardless.
Yeah, we thought there would be some sort of change. Wasn't sure if it would be Bradley, and maybe this isn't the end of the change. Seba, your thoughts? I mean, you know Bradley better than all of us. I've only spoken to him a couple of times, so your thoughts on the timing and it happening.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all what I'm saying. It's if you fire him, maybe before because the results were not as good, but like the break, kind of give more time maybe for the ownership group to kind of think about which way they want to go to finish the season, and knowing that next year it's kind of like a weird season as well, with like a short season for like kind of going to the calendar of the European calendar. So yeah, it's surprising because, like you said, I think Miami game was crazy, like 6-4, but you can see like that the offense was good. There's some good stuff, but then defensively, giving six goals is kind of crazy. So definitely, lots of issue from the beginning of the year, and at the end of the day, it's always, I would say, the head coach is the first responsible. But for me, it could have gone, in any way. It could have stayed, and I will, be okay with that, knowing that, like you say, he won the Supporter Shield last year with a team that nobody was counting on. So, he has definitely some great quality. Just, I don't know, for whatever reason, this year it's not clicking. But you can see that a lot of issues are defensive for the Union.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to say this season is 100% on Bradley. I don't think people can say it's 100% on personnel. I think it's just a combination of a lot of things. Now, what does this do, guys? And either one of you take this for Bradley's reputation, as he's been a one and done with Red Bull as an interim, one and done with St. Louis, and now basically one and done with the Union. I mean, does this kind of stigma stay with him? I mean, is he destined to coach Tottenham for 1 year and help them improve their fortunes? Like, what's the stigma on Bradley now?
It's going to be interesting because, I think this reminds me as a young Sixers fan of Doug Collins, if a lot of people remember who he was known famously for getting 1 or 2 years of getting blood out of a stone of a franchise that probably shouldn't compete and making them compete. But then almost immediately having that game style and way of teaching wear on opponents. And it's like, at this point, you have it happen 3 times. That's weird. Like it especially with the amount of success that the Union had. They basically almost wire to wire that season in terms of being on top, and especially in the league that had vastly improved in terms of talent over the last couple of years. So to see them do that, and then to have this season, look, we've talked about it almost ad nauseum. The roster turnover was tremendous between this season and last season. And most importantly, key features and key defensive features that left this team. To say what you will about Glesnes, who's possibly on the decline, he was a stalwart, a pillar of this defense, as well as Kai Wagner. And losing both of them in this offseason has proven to be very, very big holes that the Union have failed to fill. So that's a part of it. Personnel's a part of it. And Bradley said it himself in his last press conference. I don't have the depth. I don't have the depth to close out the game against Miami. I don't have the people off the bench I can call to shut down a Suarez, a Paul. Messi was already subbed off at the time, but he didn't have what he thought was enough bullets in the chamber to finish off a game like that. So is that an excuse? Maybe. Is that reality? Possibly. Is it a mixture of both? Maybe. So at this point, you're looking at a situation where he has this resume of, I'll fix you for a year, but the next year might be the worst year of your life. And it's so bizarre to have that happen to him 3 times. I mean, again, life is a way where it still all could just be coincidence. But I don't know, man. His next job is going to be a very interesting job to see who takes him.
Yeah. Seba, Gaffer Latu, what do you think? I mean, what's Bradley's reputation looking like now?
I mean, it's true, like if you just look at the fact, it's what happened to him, in all his previous jobs. So there's definitely, I always think about when I look, let's say, at myself, and stuff happen in my life and stuff repeat itself usually, and not just, in your professional life, but in anything. And it's always like the same problem you have to fix. It means that there's something you need to probably do better or change in the way you are let's say doing it. So yeah, I guess it's something that he need to overcome, and I really hope for him in his future job he can have a great first season and then able to confirm on the second one. But yeah, did he got help with the fact that all the changes and happening in the team? Of course not. It was not maybe the best recruiting we got this season with the pieces who came for replace Sky and Jacob, in the back. But at the end of the day, it's always the job of a head coach to do it, to fix it, and it doesn't matter who you have. And he showed it last year in your team. You need to get results, but this year was not the case.
Yeah, and I mean, when Bradley came in, we weren't sure. I mean, we're coming off that terrible season that you saw Jim lose his job, and Bradley comes in and wins the supporter shield, and he looks like every player is buying into everything he's saying to do, and guys are coming in great shape, and they look disciplined. And then this year, I know, big roster turnover. You got the whole Ernst mess. How do you deal with that as a head coach, where Ernst Tanner's got his fingerprints all over this club? But then the things you can blame Bradley for is that they don't look disciplined. I mean, and we're going to get in the Miami game right after this. I mean, good God, you got 4 goals on Miami. And every goal against Dre, you're like, it's 4-on-1, So it's, maybe you fault him for that. These guys aren't disciplined or picking it up. But I'm baffled by the firing, because that's not the one. If I was going to pick between the sporting director and the manager, I was thinking the sporting director wasn't going to be here after the World Cup break. So maybe I'm still going to be right. But yeah, but I think I can speak for everybody here. We all really like Bradley. He was always really nice to every one of us. I know, Seba, you had some great conversations with him, so we wish him the best, and hopefully we see him. And, maybe he's the next Sam Allardyce of MLS, where he gets called up to fix every team, gets a 2-year contract, only has to work a half a year and rolls it on. But I guess the last question for both of you before we get into Miami is, who the hell is going to be the head coach now? I mean, are we pulling an assistant? Do we pull? I joked around. Do we pull Jim Curtin and say, "Hey, buddy, you're still getting paid. Get your ass back in Chester"? I mean, is it going to be Sebastian Letou? You've got your coaching certifications. Who do we think is going to be the next head coach, guys? Real quick.
Not going to be me. That's for sure.
Seba's thrown his hat out of the ring immediately. I'm here for the idea of player manager Alejandro Bedoya. That sounds fun as hell to me. I don't even know the last time a top flight team has had a player manager. It's probably been decades, but it would make so much sense to me, at least for give me a week or two. Just make Alejandro your player manager, and let's go from there.
Adam, Ali hasn't run so far away from something in 10 years here, so I don't think if you name him, he'll be sprinting back to Fishtown.
Look, I have a thought. I'm just saying, I saw him out there. He seems spirited. He doesn't seem like he's got that much left in the tank, but he does seem a lot spirited. And I'm just saying, there's a tactician in there somewhere. So, you save a lot of dollars. I don't even think you have to give him that much of a raise. You just have to be like, look, you're gaffer for 4 or 5 matches until we figure this out.
I mean, Seba, I'm going to start the rumor now. Pep's got no job. Why doesn't Pep come over for half a season?
Yeah, not sure about this one either. And for Ali, I don't think he can. He doesn't have the license either. So
I think he would only coach NYCFC. You have to keep it inside the Man City oil family. But Palermo's job might be open soon enough. So I'm just saying, Pep, if you want to come live in the sunshine as opposed to Manchester, I got thoughts.
Yes. I mean, who else has been fired? Austin's coach, Portland's coach. I mean, there are coaches out there. Hey,
a lot of coaches.
Peter Vermees is hanging out there, so there are
that honestly, I have no information whatsoever. That name tickled my brain when I thought about it a minute ago.
Seb, if you think of any of the coaches in MLS that just recently lost their job, do you think any of them, and if so, do you have a name you think the union might say, "Yep, we can get him to come in here. He can coach high pressing, energy, drink type soccer."
You guys are funny to give me all those names of guys who are free. It's good. I like it. But now I feel like it's the situation of the team right now. It's really bad. We are last 7 points. Far away from even the place in front of us. So whoever is coming is just rebuild, refine our identity, try to do a good second half of the season, kind of bring back the spirit for the fans to come and having fun. I don't know who it's going to be. It could be maybe the assistant or Frank Leach who just take over as an interim for now and see how he do. But like I said, it's a weird kind of end of the season with the World Cup. Then you have the season, and like I said, the next year it's like a not even a full season. It's going to be a weird one. So not sure who's going to come to do kind of those two type of half of seasons. But yeah, we just think I guess something now different, fresh. But who knows? I'm sure there's different name internally within the team, within the club, and I don't think knowing that they just fired Bradley and they're still paying for Jim. I don't know if they want to pay for another famous coach, a big salary, knowing that we don't know what's going to happen. And right now, we see it's the first, let's say, name who is not going to be here after the World Cup break. But I'm sure it's going to be, other thing happening into the roster, some adding some guys who are not going to be here. And we're going to see, I think, some other stuff happening. So it's just the beginning, but it's a long, break. So let's see after, and maybe a name of a coach maybe will come during, those days.
The only thing I'm going to say, and Adam, I'm not all about the protests, but I'm going to tell Jay and Richard and the rest of the owners now that if they hire a third coach and my beer prices go up because we're paying all these salaries, I'm going to be out there on the picket line. Just fair warning to everybody out there. You'll see me picket line if those $15 beers go up to $16.50. Matt's going to be angry.
You've gotten Matt to pick it. Like to get Matt Gandazic to pick it, it means that you've crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. So
Exactly.
look, I think right now what you're dealing with more than anything else is a moment that should be just kind of shepherded in by an intern. I think an intern coach for the rest of this season. You know, I was thinking of Ryan Richter, but I'm also like, I don't necessarily want him to be the guy at the handling that. It just feels uncomfortable for me to promote him, especially with how involved he is with U2 and how important our second team in our academy is. Maybe unless they've already discussed this, I think promoting him might not be fair per se in this moment. But look, what you said about the change in schedule is monumental. You know, what's going to happen next year with the split schedule, with trying to figure out how to navigate that. I feel like putting another coach in here that you intend to have go into the next season, it just doesn't make sense to me. You know, this feels like in baseball when it's a bullpen game and you throw in the backup shortstop to throw a couple of innings. You know, the game's over. You've conceded, but you're not going to try to get someone hurt that you might actually need in the future for the gig. So this is going to be interesting.
It's the only reason to start watching Union Twitter right now is because you're going to want to figure out what's going on. You know, I was looking forward to a little break from some Union, just embrace the World Cup coming here. And the Union said, oh no, hold my $15 beer. You're going to be glued to your socials now, just seeing what's going on. Because, you know, like I said, I'll throw out another name for Seba, Marlon LeBlanc. He's only in Brooklyn. Come on back, buddy. You know, but we digress.
Nancy.
Yeah, exactly. Wilford's around.
What is Wilford doing right now? He's well versed in MLS. I think he got a raw deal at Celtic, if I'm honest with you. I think that was way too quick of a firing. But what's he like? There's a lot of Bruce Arena type, John Tortorella's in the NHL, you know, type guys out there. So JB Bickerstaff, if you're a basketball fan, these guys exist. So I think the Union will find someone to at least try to figure out what this season is, because the great irony of MLS is they still could make the playoffs. Like, all things considered, they still could backdoor their way into the playoffs, which honestly might be bad for them. They might need just to be humbled for this season and try to lick their wounds and try again next season. But there is still something to play for right now for the Union, so it'll be interesting what they do.
We've got plenty of time to speculate on coaches. Let's get back to Seba. This one's going to be you, Miami. Barn burner, 6-4 loss. Well, I wrote it's a barn burner until that rainy second half and kind of made that game a whole different feel and everything. I mean, I thought Cavan played well, but I thought he lost out of steam. I thought he ran out of steam, and I thought that's why he was subbed out. I know people were all angry on the Union verse about it. Frankie, I thought, had a nice offensive game. I don't know about D so much, but yeah, it was just sloppy. But we had 2 hat tricks in this game. Seba, you were down there. Your thoughts on that 6-4 game in Miami?
Yeah, he was what a game. What a start. What a first half. 4-4 in the one half. It was crazy. But if we just talk about the game and kind of the feeling, you know, when you watch it, and it was the same for you, but at the first 10 minutes, you know, you're like, oh, wow, we are playing like great. Like defensively, we're okay. Messi barely touched the ball. Offensively, we score like great goal, you know, passing the ball between 4 or 5 player movement. Like you say, Frankie, you know, attacking on the right, Bender on the left, interchange, you know, between Cavan and who plays the second 10, Anelo. You know, like everybody was involved. It was great. Damian is scoring his first goal of the season. You're like, all right, that's a turnaround. You know, you feel good. And then you just see like the ball watching in defense was crazy. Like we were not even marking like those 2 forward, like between the line. I know that Ariol and Martinez maybe never played together, but it was really shocking sometimes of kind of how nice we were, and nobody putting pressure on the ball, and just them kind of moving between them and being back themselves, like with so much time, or like just so many tap in against Andre when he make a save or anything. It was really like, wow, is it the first time we are defending? So yeah, our defense seriously was not good, and when you are up, 2-0, then 2-1. At 2-1, you're like, you feel like, here we go again. And then we up 3-1, and you're like, okay, that's good. Let's just, keep the same play. And not sure why. As soon as Miami attack and break our line and attack our back four, yeah, like we were just, here we go again. Like you had this feeling, I don't know why about you when you watch the game, you're like, yep, no, we are not going to win it, even if we are up 3-1. It was kind of like how you feel when you watch the game, because of how like struggling defensively. The ball come to us, we just clear it one time. We don't even try to clear it in throwing. We just clear in the middle of the park every time. So yeah, it was brutal to kind of see like the goal coming one after another and being up 4-3. Then luckily they score a goal, but we called back to give us a PK for a handball, which was a legitimate handball. So 4-4, and you're like, okay, let's see. And then the second half, like you say, I feel like Kevin coming off, Anilo coming off, who were like the two guys who created a lot. You can see, yes, they run maybe out of gas a little bit at the beginning of the second half, but it's not like we have much better on the bench to create if we want to win the game. So maybe you keep them a little bit longer on the field, and see if something happens. Especially like when I was 16 years old, I think I could run forever, So I know it was very humid, like you saw probably the rain in the second half was like very, very hot. But yeah, it was, again, mistake at the end, no Lukic with a bad header or something you never see, and counter attack, and you saw the goal like saved by Dre, and there's just one Union player and 5 Miami player in the box. So it's like, where is everybody? So it's kind of, yeah, very disappointing, and you can see it's kind of like how like the player are in their head. I think the break, it's great. Hopefully they can just clear their mind, for 2 weeks, and then come back. And now, with a change of coach, let's see what's going to happen.
And I think we just got Eloise Latou's comments on how bad the defense was too. So I wanted to thank her for piping in on there. That was
I know
perfect.
she
Perfect
heard
timing.
me, and yeah, I had to apologize to her every time. Like, it's not always like that. I promise, we are better than that. So.
Yeah, we had the supporter shield. We still have it. So
Seba,
maybe,
my baby only knows as a supporter shield winner. Like that's the irony. Like my child only knows us being good. This is weird for him. This is weird. No, but look, what's about this is both of what has been spoken about and with this struggle in the past with this team before. And Jim mentioned it, and we got on Jim about this back in the day, which was he didn't substitute enough, which made us believe he didn't believe in the depth we had. And a guy like Ty Baribo came off the bench and said, no, I'm actually very good at this game of soccer. You probably should have played me more. But let's be honest, there might have been a lot of other times when Jim was actually correct. When playing the guys that he had was actually our best chance of winning, despite them possibly being gassed and despite thinking fresher legs may have helped. What Seba said really spoke to that, and the fact that Bradley, like the guys that were on the field are probably your best guys, period. And in a way where you weren't going to replace them with anyone who was comparable enough to help this team win a 4-4 tie on the road in rain-soaked South Florida. So I think it became one of these situations where, one, you saw the morale of this team absolutely get zapped at 3-2. Like at 3-2, you saw these guys were starting to walk back slowly. And I'm like, okay. And then 3 happens in a heartbeat. 4 happens in another heartbeat. And you see they've lost the mojo already. We're still not even at halftime. That's a coaching issue in my eyes. That's a getting your guys up for the situation, getting your guys up for the moment. That should have been the biggest game of the season for all Union players involved this year, because you have Messi, you have the game is on Fox Sports, nationally televised, Sunday night. That is your moment right before the All-Star break, for the World Cup break, to make your mark, to make yourself playable, to say to the team, I know I haven't been playing enough, or I know you're trying to figure out the roster. I know you're trying to get the chemistry going. I belong in the 11. I belong in the 18 every single time. That was a perfect game for that. And Milani Lasky said, you can't bench me. You can't bench me. There's no way you can actually get away with benching me. Outside of that, and especially for all of the defenders who let Andre Blake hang out to dry on several of those scored goals, look at the transfer market, my boys. Look what's on the market. Who can we make a trade with inside MLS? Like, a lot of these guys are losing their jobs in real time. And it's something where I get why you fire Bradley after that. You know, I get why everyone else on the hot seat, because there's multiple reasons why a game like that happens, where if you're up 3-1 and you can get to a fourth goal, the minimum thing you should be doing is tying. Like, there's very few situations where I believe you're on the road and you score 4 goals and you're going to lose by 2. It's a situation where a lot of people had to answer for what happened on Miami, even though I still don't believe that's a fireable game. Like, I don't believe you fire someone because of that game.
I don't
You
think he
definitely
got
have to have a
fired.
come to Jesus moment after.
I don't think he got fired because of that game. I think it was a culmination of things. But, you know, here's the funny thing is, was I surprised we scored 4 in Miami? Yes and no, because our scoring's so bad, but their defense is terrible. So you're like, okay. Was I surprised that Miami was able to get 6 goals on our defense? No, I was disappointed. I wasn't surprised. You know, Chomper Suarez gets a hat trick, for God's sakes. One of my least favorite people in the world. You know, and Messi was held back. Messi didn't have any goals. He had some beautiful assists. And as predicted, he subbed himself off in the second half. I think it was the request of FIFA and the president of Argentina. But in reality, it was he wanted to come off because he had a little bit of a hamstring issue. And he came off at 73rd minute. And you thought, oh, maybe now the Union come back. But the defense was still sloppy. And, you know, it just was it was a very exciting first half, not the game or the result any of us wanted. But I do have a real question for Sebastian Latus. You're there. What were your thoughts and comments on the new stadium? Stadium new. I mean, that's brand new.
Yeah, it was very nice. Very nice stadium. Closed. It just like with the weather, you know, you can really feel just how like humid it is and amped. Like, you know, hard to breathe. You know, there's not a lot of air circulating in a stadium. So it was, pretty hard, I think, on the player. Even us just like being out, you know, just looking. But no, they did a very good job. Like I like it because it's closed. You know, it's like an arena. And yeah, it's very loud. I have to say, like their sound system was pretty loud every time they announced, you know, some goals or the name of the player. So even like the sound kind of stay inside from the fans. So no, it was it was a pretty great atmosphere. I kind of like it. They did a pretty good job, buddy. You know, it's open on the inside, but there's still a lot of work to do on the outside. It's not done yet, but you know, they're getting there.
Yeah, and I read, Adam, they have the longest bar in the MLS. So don't know what that means, but
they
longest
better.
bar.
They're in Miami.
Yeah.
Damn it. Like there's certain things that I require when I go to Miami. A Cubano and an exorbitant amount of rum access while I'm at sporting events, you know. So I'm happy to hear that the newest stadium in MLS is living up to expectation. But I gotta say, Seba is saying that this thing does not have a cross breeze is a problem. That does not sound fun, because this is just May, people. Can you imagine August in a stadium in the swamps of Florida that doesn't have a cross breeze? Woof.
Yeah, it's going to be Dallas 2.0, so we'll see. So, Seba, how are the mojitos down there?
No mojitos for me. Just water. I need to hydrate. You know, it was damp.
All right, so in the stadium.
How many mojitos did Dave Leno have then? You can dime him out. You know.
None. He was focused on the game. You know, he's a professional.
He He is that. Now, speaking of professionalism, what the hell can we expect during this window, guys? What are the options? What I'm reading is Neil Pierre is set to return on loan. Does he gets a look at center back for the ones team? Does is that an answer? Could be. Nadigna, I mean, he can't get a start over Ben Bender. So is he a bust? I mean, do you slap that label on already? Can they find a left back in this window? The other thing is, maybe are other teams going to be looking at us? Jovan Lukic, DJJ? DJJ is going to be playing in Haiti. A lot of European eyes are going to be on him in the World Cup. I mean, Seba, do you think we can gain anyone? And do you think we have a possibility of losing one or two of our guys during this window?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot of moves are going to be happening for sure. In what position? For sure, I will say bet on the defense, first to kind of get more guys or trade guys or, sign other guys. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's going to be some change for sure maybe in all the lines. But like you say, it could be us losing some good player, us adding good player as well. But yeah, I feel like we're going to see how we can rebuild with first the player we have in our roster. If Neil Pierre come back, I think it could be a good addition to the center backs. Knowing that the potential he has and the fact that he spent a couple of months now in a different league. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, I'm expecting to see a few change for sure.
I have breaking news, and this is directly from the Union's Twitter account or the Union's Instagram account. The Philadelphia Union have announced Jon Scheer has been named Sporting Director.
So Ernst is gone now.
That is what my sources said, that Bradley wasn't the only person leaving today. That was what I was told. That I wasn't 100%. I thought it might have been more of the scouting department outside of just straight up the sporting director. But from the Union's account, checkmarked Union's account 11 minutes ago, the Philadelphia Union announced Jon Scheer has been named sporting director. And 3 minutes prior to that, they announced the relief of Bradley Carnell.
It's on their website. So, yep, that's it's official on all ends. So we have a new sporting director, no new coach. Well, promote Jon Scheer to director of. No, I've got promote him to director of academy and professional development. That's what he was. Yeah. So I guess they're moving him up to sporting director.
Yeah. That they're taking him all the way up to the top here. So that has to say, and it's not interim sporting director. So they have not announced Ernst's firing, but
yeah,
I don't know what else that means.
Well, he's got a busy window because this fan base isn't going to say that Quinn Sullivan is the midseason replacement. It's going to be great to get Quinn back, but we're going to have a crowded midfield now. Still got to get Cavan time. Indiana's earned time, so I don't know what they do in the midfield with Quinn coming back. And Seba, how much could you rely on Quinn coming back from an ACL? I mean, that's not a 9-month injury. That kind of is something he's still got to work through. So what's his workload going to look like when he's back?
I think they're just going to, monitorize him, make sure that he's, fully recovered. I don't think they're going to push hard on him, especially knowing where the team is standing. So it's going to be probably a lot of communication between whoever is the coach, him, the training staff, and making sure that, they do a good job kind of easing him into the season so he can play. But, he's looking good on the sideline right now working. I think he's close to be back, but I'm sure they're going to take their time to have him come back. But at the end of the day, it's always the player who decides. So depending on how Quinn feels, I think it'll be him who decides when he wants to be and how many minutes he would like to not play, but kind of depending on the needs of the team for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting offseason or break. And the last question I had, with the forwards, do you think we could unload Bruno anywhere?
Good question again. I feel like, let's say, so far, like Alado has been disappointed, signing for sure. Knowing that the price we pay for him, compared to knowing that the team doesn't spend that much money. So, yeah, he has been disappointed. So I'm not sure if he's going to stay. Is they going to try to loan him, on something like this? And then, yeah, if this happens, you need to definitely have a different depth. We have some guys in the second team, but you can see like we try some, doesn't work, as well. So, yeah, we could get somebody, from a trade, from a different MLS team maybe who doesn't play. Like Adam says, there's a lot of great player out there who maybe doesn't have a lot of like playing time in their team and wants to have a chip on their shoulder to do something. So yeah, I feel like we can definitely get some addition in each line. So and put some more how you say when a player fight for the spot, when there's no concurrence. That's what I was looking for. Concurrency, in like the position, it's a bit too easy to be like, oh, I'm going to play. Nobody's here to like fight for my spot. But if there is, 2-3 guys for the same spot and it's fair and square, now you can see that training are going to get better. Guys are going to fight for their spot, and at the end of the day, they fight for being here as well next year. Because if we keep playing this way, a lot of change will be made at the end of the season.
I don't even know who you retain, to be honest with you. Offensively, obviously outside of the obvious people like Quinn and Cavan and all of those guys, like in Indiana, I'd say you can hold on to Milan, you hold on to him. But look, you went from Julian Carranza and Mikel Ura and Ty Baribo and Daniel Gazdag as a 4 up there scoring all of those goals to now a transfer window where all 3 of the offensive tacklers are busts. And it's something where you can say they're not getting service to a point. 16 games in, it's beyond service. They're not finding the net. Like Bruno, he found it, but it's literally like it for what the Union paid, for their standards of what they pay and for what they have gotten, that might be one of the worst transfer markets ever, that we've had as a team. So this is weird. This is a weird moment where there's not a lot of people on this roster that I'm flat out saying, yeah, hold on to them. We're going to need them for the rebuild. And you could tear most of this down and start over and see what we got, or at least try to make some moves, via the academy or something. I don't know. I don't know what the next move is here because there's too many variables and too many locations to clearly be like, here's the path, Yeah.
No, you don't know. I mean, I think I read somewhere where Alaski's got 7 goals and the rest of the team all combined has got 10. I think for a total of 17 goals. So you definitely need help up front. You definitely need help in the back. It's a lot going on. So we're going to see. It's going to be an interesting window for us to look at. And I thought I was going to take some time off, but no, not going to happen. Let's see. League news, guys. The Portland Timbers parted ways with Phil Neville. And I forgot last week, Kai Kamara has retired. Adam, any thoughts on the great Kai leaving after all those years?
A thorn in the side of many MLS fans, but from what I've been told, one of the nicest dudes in the league, a great guy and a real soldier for this league. I think not a lot is said about the journeymen that go through this league and kind of, probably had it. I'm sorry.
Breaking news. Ryan Richter named the interim head coach.
Joe I had Tansey a feeling.
Just sent an email our way.
So. I was hoping it wasn't because I was very much liking what he was doing with the second team and all that. I didn't want that to be disrupted. But, what Seba said is 100% correct. I don't think the union want to be paying 3 coaches at the moment. So, keep it in house at least till the end of the calendar year and then see what you got from there. But Ryan Richter's a good coach. I like him a lot. He's done well down there with you too. I thought he might get a bigger coaching gig eventually. So, I hate that this has to be how it starts for him, because this is obviously not the ideal situation. This is coming into the ninth inning with the bases loaded, but as a relief pitcher. But I really hope that by proxy he can take the bull by the horns and really make something of this opportunity.
Yeah, we're gonna see. Now, let's talk some World Cup while we can, because it's coming. The World Cup's coming to Philly. It's coming to the U.S. It's coming everywhere. And the U.S. men's team held some kind of crappy spectacle in New York City that we all knew already with the roster. But the good news for us is, and I am personally, Adam, submitting one name for the FIFA Peace Prize award. And you know who that is. That's our friend Tommy Wilson. Because 4 of the U.S. men's national team players came from the Union Academy. And since anybody can win the FIFA Peace Prize, I'm going to nominate Tommy Wilson. I hope he walks away with it. 5 guys, including Mr. Pulisic, make the team from this area. So Pennsylvania, New Jersey looking strong for the U.S. Hopefully the U.S. looks strong in the World Cup. Adam, did you watch that little spectacle on Fox? Because I totally missed it.
No, because why did they have to do all that? Just announce the team, brother. I mean, look, England had the coolest. They had a good video with the Beatles. Scotland had Ewan McGregor, had Obi-Wan Kenobi himself do a video. Why did I need a concert with Gunna at the Chelsea Piers? Like, all these dudes were no, because you know what the worst part is about this, Matt, and the United States' entire advertisement for this World Cup as a team has been, hey, we might do something cool, and I'm like, the whole vibes have been off, and then to do this spectacle, it just felt so forced and so just bull BS-y. It felt like the announcement of the World Cup in DC a couple of months ago. It just or the Pots a couple of months ago. It just felt forced. On top of that, the fact that there's 4 people from the Union former first team that are on the U.S. national team, I love that for us. Proof purchase that the academy does work. And everyone forgets Christian Pulisic has like the gentlest tie to the academy in the history of mankind, but he is there. So he was there for 5 seconds. So the whole area of Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey represented in this World Cup. And I look, as a Philadelphia and a Union fan, I couldn't be prouder. And all 4 of the guys who got called up are 4 guys that I personally root for. I think Austin, Mark, Brendan, and I know that Matt Freese plays for a rival, but the dude's from my hometown, and he was a great Union player when he was here. Not the greatest Quizzo guy, but he was good at a lot of other things. So I'm a proud papa over here. I'm really happy that the Union boys are going to be representing at a home World Cup where it's proof purchase of what we're doing with that academy, and that's really, really exciting. So I don't think we're going to do anything in this World Cup. Sebastian will be the first person to tell you how negative I am towards the U.S. national team, and I'm getting more negative as the days go on. But I'm excited regardless.
A little fun fact for you while we're peppering some things, because this is a chaotic show, just like the Union's defense. It's chaotic and all over the place. Ryan Richter, age 37. Alejandro Bedoya, age 39.
Adam Booth, age 36.
Yeah, there you go. So you could be next for coaching, just letting you know.
Look, I had a chat with Seba the other day about getting my license. So I'm just saying we could, this is how I climb the ranks.
But yeah, so just get through some soccer news and then we'll see what other breaking news happens. Premier League wrapped up. Tottenham survived, but West Ham went down. They'll be facing my new favorite team, the Southampton way. Have you know it's this is the way, to quote Dinjarian. The Southampton way is drones, telephones, whatever you got to do to do the Bill Belichick, you just do it. So yes, let's see how West Ham handles Southampton and their fleet of KGB spies. I mean, you can't write this stuff, guys. It's unbelievable. And shout out to Adam's third favorite Italian team, Como, secured a spot in the Champions League through Serie A, buddy. You know, that's your third favorite Italian team.
First off, the best part about this is that they can't even play their games in their stadium because it's not certified for UEFA competition. That's the funniest part about this. The most Italian thing ever is to be this beautiful club on this beautiful lake, surrounded by all these celebrities, but your stadium is so decrepit and run down, you have to go play 3 towns over just to play an actual match.
Maybe they'll play in George Clooney's backyard. I'm sure he's got enough space for everybody.
Bigger than their stadium, guarantee it.
But yeah, so I mean, I think that was everything on my schedule. I know we've got the World Cup coming up. I think we'll probably do, you know, at least one special pod talking about the World Cup and where things are. Maybe we'll even do something at Bradhouse Schmitz. Who knows? I mean, I'm living so close to the FIFA Fan Festival that I need to get a special permit. So the World Cup is going to be crazy. This offseason is going to be crazy. We're going to be keeping our heads, you know, our ears to the ground to figure out what this team's going to do, what the new sporting director is going to find out, what guys are going to leave us and what guys we're going to get, and how is Ryan Richter going to, you know, clean up this mess. It's going to be an interesting time, and you know, we're gonna get through it together, everyone, with our $15 beers at Subaru Park. I think Seba is off being a proud papa, so I want to thank him now for everything. And everyone, don't forget Sebastian Latou's summer soccer camp in July in Wildwood. You get to get coached by one of the best, and maybe the future head coach of the Philadelphia Union, if we can convince him to take the job. And Adam, anything you got to plug in?
Not really at the moment. The Phoenix are not doing well. So, I mean, if you want to come down and watch us, I ain't gonna say no, but at the same time, I ain't gonna say you should.
Maybe you'll fire your coach and sporting director too.
We do that every year. Literally every year there's a new coach. I feel like that might not actually be the issue. Maybe we need consistency at the coaching position. I don't know. But otherwise, I don't know, just protect your mental health and avoid New York Knicks fans whenever you can.
That's great advice. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to episode number 62. Seb and Eloise, thank you, and we will talk to you all soon.